Welcome to the HMO Property Show. By investors, for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show. I'm your host, as always, Neil Gabe, and today I've got somebody a little bit different on the podcast. The reason that I brought this gentleman on is we've been working together really closely over the last 6 months. I've got some incredible results working with him, and them results have led to not only an improvement in energy and sleep and fitness, but also that flows through to business, property investing, and all the other things as well. So I thought I'd get him on because, like I say, he's helped me immensely. Business has been going well. My energy levels are up, considering I've got 2 kids, a wife, multiple businesses, property portfolio, everything going on. And this man helps me keep on track with making sure I've got the energy to tackle it also. Mr. Mauro Stara, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Neil.
You're welcome, Neil. You're welcome. Like I said, there's no point building all of this wealth and investing in properties and building businesses if we haven't got our health right. Health is wealth.
Exactly. You know, you touched on investing in properties, and the obvious or not, the not obvious property is the one you live in, right? Like, how are you going to treat that temple?
Exactly. And it is probably the greatest investment that we'll make. But so many people, I don't think they don't focus on it as much, Mauro. I think there's so much misinformation out there, right? And I've learned a lot since I've been working with you that, you know, the things that we put in our bodies that we think are healthy because the market is healthy on the shop shelves, the marketed to us if they're healthy as well. But then when we start digging into it, they're not. So like I say, I wanted to get you on today so we can talk about the sort of pillars that you work on to make sure that men like myself and women, because you work with women as well, can increase their health, increase their energy, which will help them get more output and start getting better results in all areas of their life.
Yeah. So, you know, even before we get into the pillars, to add something to what you said, which is a lot of people don't, especially the men more than the women in your industry, don't focus that much on it, is because there's like that notion of, hey, once I get to that X number that I'm making a month, a year, then I'm gonna do this, then, right? But like that goal post gets pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, right? And it's like, it's not getting in shape or taking care of your health. There's no end, there's no finishing line. So the sooner we realize that, hey, this is something I start and never stop, it makes sense to start rather sooner than later, right? It's not, oh, I'm going to take care of that and then just tick it off. No, it's not. You're not going to do 3 workouts and then that's it and don't have to do it anymore, right? It's like you have to do it over and over again. And if you know this is like a conveyor belt system, so to say, that keeps rolling for the rest of your life, well, I rather want to get in sooner than later, right? You want to get in sooner with stocks, with Bitcoin, with crypto, with any investment before the price goes up, before, you know, it's like super high and it's risky. Well, it's the same with your health, right? You can get in when it's really cheap and easy to make modifications, or you can wait till very late, till it's risky and much harder, right? And, you know, talking about the pillars that you brought on, it's very simple. I can share more what we do in detail if there's time, but we focus on like 4 key pillars. One is recovery, which is very underrated, sleep and stress, because if your sleep is poor, memory is poor, testosterone is down, and it's going to affect your performance at work, your cognition, brain health. So a lot of benefits there. Stress, again, you can be super successful in business and have a team, make a lot of money. But if you're very emotional, very reactive, and a lot of times that can be hormonally, that your hormones are out of balance, but also stress, which we have the hormone cortisol. That is a really big issue where you become snappy, your leadership skills will have been impacted through that because you're just very emotional. And I always like to think like, hey, when you regulate stress, focus on your breathing, decompress, and all the other things we can do. You're like James Bond in Casino Royale. Like there's that big bomb that explodes and everyone's screaming and running, and he's just at the bar drinking his martini, and he looks on the right and looks back in the sand. It's like, I'm not saying everyone needs to be exactly like that, but that's like the scale where we want to be versus like, I don't know, there's like an email that comes in and you like smack the table, and it's like, that is a key pillar of health. And the less reactive we are, the more stoic, the more we can make logical and better decisions in business. And the other two are resistance training, lifting weights, and the big one that's often underrated, diet. And if one had the fourth one, which could tie into the second one, but the fourth one would be activity, getting some movement in with the body, whether it's walking or swimming or biking, playing tennis, like just some activity throughout the day. Because lifting weights alone usually is not enough to get the body moving, and among other benefits.
Yeah, yeah. So the four pillars there, then let's break them down and go into each one. And because again, there's a lot of, I think people are becoming more aware now, right? There's, we got the benefits of social media that people are pushing all this content out there. But even though these are still the basics, people still don't do them well enough to get the results that they want to get, right? So sleep and stress, what can we do to manage them two things?
Yeah, and to add to what you said, with people may do something but not well enough. A lot of times, especially again from men, I hear like, "Oh, I know what to need to do. I just need to get it done." Well, first of all, if you know what you need to do, but you haven't gotten it done, like, do you really know what to do? Because from my experience, there's like everyone, if you go to stocks, right? Everyone knows buy low, sell high, right? But if it was just that, like, why, doesn't everyone sit on like millions and millions in their stock portfolio? So knowing what to do and knowing in exact detail how to do it in the most efficient, effective way are two different things, right? So move more, eat less. Like, well, if it was just that, why is the world where it is today when it comes to health and obesity?
Exactly. Well,
So
let's use me as an example then. So when I reached out to you 6 months ago, I thought I was in pretty good shape. I was training well, I was eating well, or so I thought. But I wasn't in the shape that I wanted to be in, right? So I knew what I needed to do, technically, move more, lift weights, eat well, sleep better, which I was trying to do. But then, like you said there, with the fine tuning it as well and be more precise with exactly what you need to do, not just high level. This is where you start getting results. And it's the same with property investing. It's the same with business as well.
100%. Yeah.
So sleep and stress.
Yeah.
What are the sort of, if we want to break them down into pillars again, what do we do to get better sleep and how do we reduce stress?
Yeah, so sleep starts in the morning. When the sun goes up, want to make sure get some sunlight exposure, especially for your listeners in Australia. You have a pretty good climate there, and you have most of the year a lot of sun. I think what do you guys have? 300 plus days of sun, so there's an abundance there. But even for anyone listening to this, if there's no sun, it's cloudy, it's gray, you still want to, go out, whether it's your garden, open the window, balcony, terrace, penthouse, whatever you have access to, and get 5-10 minutes sunlight exposure. You don't need to like stare into the sun, but just get some sunlight exposure because uh, through your eyes, you start regulating the circadian rhythm, which is your inner biological clock. And studies show that the more that's regulated, and you can do that by going to bed and waking up at the same time, the better sleep you get, the lower your mortality risk. So like that is like the number one pillar for sleep, your circadian rhythm, that inner biological clock, regulating that. So light in the morning, right? Exposure, and then minimizing light exposure at night at the end of the day. And the way you do that is, it's not realistic to tell everyone like, hey, put your phone away, you're never going to touch this after sunset or watch TV. So just put on blue light blockers. These are those rad cool glasses. You look like Vin Diesel in Riddick, and you put those on, and they're gonna help you. There you go. We got the same ones. I
Yeah.
just have them here or there. So you get some of those on, and that's going to block out the blue light and helps your body produce melatonin, which is the hormone that helps with which is one of the most powerful antioxidants, helps with oxidative stress. It is also linked to lowering risk of cancer, and obviously is the hormone that helps you fall asleep, especially in deep sleep, and therefore recharge and recover your body. The other thing is you don't want to eat too close to bed. So if you eat too close to bed, your core body temperature is too high. And if your body's hot, it's burning, digesting, then you're not going to get into very deep sleep because your heart rate is too high. So stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. If it's like a small snack, 1, 2 hours before bed, like half a banana or so, it's not a big deal. But you don't want to have a dinner and then like at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. and then go to bed at 10, 11. Like that's going to wreck your system. Your blood sugar is going to be high and it's going to mess up your sleep there. Next one is make sure you have no light in the room. So blackout curtains. If you don't have that, get a sleep mask. You really want to block out any light because again, that disrupts melatonin production, won't allow you to get a lot of deep sleep there. And then any noise. So if there's any noise for whatever reason, then maybe some earplugs can help, especially when you're traveling. And just a recent study showed like air circulation. So whether it's an AC or having the window open, that's gonna really help with breathing and oxygen at night. The last one I would say is if you're snoring, if you're mouth breathing a lot, buy a mouth strip. You just put it on your mouth here. It's like a hostage tape, and it forces your body to breathe through the nose. Don't worry, you're not gonna die. They wouldn't sell on Amazon if that would be the case. So you do that, and you're gonna get more air, more oxygen, and the heart rate's gonna be lower. So there's a lot more around sleep with food, supplements, but those are like the very, very low hanging fruit, especially light and not eating 3 to 4 hours before bed.
Yeah. I mean, the blue light blockers, I wear mine religiously from about 6:30, 7 o'clock onwards. And yeah, if I forget to put them on one night, or let's say I'm traveling or something like that, I forget to take them with me, I notice a massive difference. Massive difference. And the other thing,
Also, when you're traveling in a new time zone, I found like when you put on the blue light blockers, especially in the plane or when you arrive, like depending on the time of the day, but if it's late, it really helps minimizing the jet lag. Like it's tremendous.
check that out. Check that out, mate.
Yeah.
The other thing, the mouth tape, I can't do it. I wake up in the middle of the night panicking and I take it off. It's just
Okay.
not for me.
No,
But
well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's fine. It's not for everyone.
what do we do for stress then? How can we reduce stress? Because we live in a world now where mobile phones are pinging every 2 minutes. I've turned all the notifications off my phones and my laptops now, so I physically need to go into the apps to see if anybody's messaged me, which I feel like helps because at one stage everything's just pinging constantly, and I just feel myself stressing and stressing and stressing. So what are the other ways that people can lower stress so that they can relax and chill out more?
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, that's why I'm a fan of blood work. Look at your blood work because, for example, more for women than for men, but also for men, if your progesterone is very low, especially for females, but also for men, then that can make you much more stressed and anxious. You see that in postmenopausal women. And the reason is progesterone is the hormone that helps you calm down, helps you sleep as well. So if that's very low, then your stress tolerance is also going to be lower. But if that's higher, you've got a nice threshold, then your capacity to deal with stress is going to be much better. You're going to be much more resilient. So that is one there. And then the other one is DHEA. That is a hormone that's produced by the adrenal glands. If that's low, then your stress tolerance is also going to be lower. Usually when people have a burnout, like I had a burnout, so I can relate to that. you look at their blood work and their DHEA is usually very low. That tells me why that happened, and they would not have had the burnout in most cases if their DHEA levels were higher and potentially progesterone was also a little higher. So look at blood work, where are those hormones at? What can I do there to optimize those? The other one is stress doesn't really exist. I know people hate when I say that, but like you and I can be in a room and someone drops, a glass on the floor and it breaks, and you're just calm there and say, all right, I'll go to the kitchen, clean it up. And the other person like yells and screams and like, so it's how you react to external events many, many times. Of course, there are other stresses like physical stress, emotional stress, but like, I think when most people, especially in business, talk about stress, it's how to respond with a busy schedule when you've got a lot on your plate, stuff like that. I'm not talking about a death or a divorce or like major life events, but other things there, right? So we got to figure out what is it and why am I responding that way to it? And again, it could be hormonal, could be mental, could be a mix of two. And can I remove myself from certain environments and triggers that are stressing me? So if I know I'm always stressed when I go there, well, do I really need to go there? Is that really my benefit? The other thing is when you're stressed, you're like compressed. So to de-stress, you want to decompress. And there are many ways to do that. Going for a walk in nature, no phone, no podcast, just you, nature, breathe in, get some fresh air. But the other one is, I've seen that so many times. I tell clients, show me your schedule. They show me their schedule and I see meeting 8 a.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, quick lunch break, and they're back to back. And I said, okay, so have you ever had a meeting that goes longer than anticipated? Oh, yeah, many times. Okay. So what do you do then with the next meeting? Oh, I have to text them while I'm in this meeting and I'm stressed. Like you're creating your own problem. So why don't you put a 15, 20-minute block in between meetings? Right? And initially there's a resistance, like, I may lose money. No, you won't lose money. Actually, the quality of the meetings are more important than the quantity. Then they put the blocker and they get up, they wash their face, get some water, and all of a sudden, like, wow, my stress is lower. Of course, because now the meeting goes over, you're not stressed. You can enjoy, be present in the conversation with the podcast host, with the sales call, with the negotiation, with your team, whoever it is, client. Go to the toilet, wash your face, hydrate, open the window, get some fresh air. All right, next call. Right, you got up, you move. But if you're just glued to the screen, no breaks, call after call after call, everyone would be stressed, right? So that's like a really low-hanging fruit. And the last one would be breathing. You can instantly relieve stress and lower your heart rate through breathing. I first learned that when I was in banking. My boss yelled at me like, all right, meeting. I'm like, okay, this is going to be tough. So me and three others, we fucked something up in a client case, and we sit there, and my heart rate usually, back then was like 62, maybe 60 resting heart rate. And I could just feel my heart pounding, and I had a Fitbit. So like, I just turned it around and I saw like 1 to 10, 112, 115, like it would just rise and like 138. And I'm like, man, I'm like in zone 2 cardio here. Like I'm in a sauna, right? It's like the heart was so pounding. I was so nervous. It was like my first, I don't know, first 6 months or so of my banking career. And what I did was just breathe slowly in and slowly out. And I would see that number. It would still rise a little bit, then hold, and then it goes down, down. It didn't went all the way down, but it went down to like the 80s again. And it's like, wow, I can be in control of that. And so the more you focus on breathing, and there's a technique called 4-10-4 breathing, which is you breathe in 4 seconds, you hold for 4, and you breathe out for 4 seconds. You do that for 4 rounds. It takes like less than a minute. And what that does is it really, or yeah, plus minus a minute, and it really helps you regulate your nervous system, calm down. And again, your body doesn't know if there's a stressor, it's how you react to it. And your breathing is what communicates your body, how you react to it. So if you control your breathing, you'll control your stressors, right?
Yes, my favorite one is we've got a park just around the corner from the office. So if I'm feeling a little bit fried, I'll just walk around the corner, sit on the grass, do some breath work, get myself chilled back out, and then come back, regroup. Because we have days like this, right? No matter how good you get at this and how much you practice it, you're still gonna have things that stress you out.
Yeah, and it's like with working out, like you do a set and you rest, and then you do another one, or you go to the next machine and do not, but you're not on the machine for 1 hour just benching. You're not benching 1 hour, right? So like you bench, then you rest, you bench, rest. And it's like meeting, rest, meeting, rest. A lot of people don't put that rest in there, and it's just gonna backfire.
Yeah, true. Let's talk about diet because that's a big thing. Again, a lot of confusion out there in the market. I've done low carb, high fat. I've done low fat, high carb. I've done keto. I've done it all, Mauro. And like I said, when I joined up with you, I'd worked with a few different people as well. So what's the low hanging fruit that people can consider for the diet as well to help them have more energy and just make sure that looking healthy on the outside is one thing, but making sure that they're getting the correct nourishment and the correct sort of doing the right things for the body.
I'm a fan, as you already know, on programming the diet based on blood work. You get in labs and you look, where are my nutrient deficiencies? Where's my blood sugar? Where's my cholesterol, my lipids, and many other markers, organ function, liver, fat, kidneys. And that's going to determine the optimal macronutrients, so protein, carbohydrates, fats, but also micronutrients and foods that contain those micronutrients that I specifically should add into the diet and I should focus on, right? And so that's the foundation. And one thing that we really focus on for almost every client is a concept called backcycling carbohydrates. So we push carbohydrates later to the day, which is counterintuitive because most mainstream advice has it the opposite, which is have a lot of carbs for breakfast, have your oatmeal, your granola, your orange juice, maybe croissant, and then have some rice, for lunch. And then for dinner, very small, a salad or so. And hey, if that works for you, fantastic. But most people, it doesn't. And the reason for that is when you start your day with carbs, your sugar spikes up. And when your sugar spikes up, then your pancreas release insulin to lower the sugar. So now early on, you're in a sugar roller coaster. And your blood sugar, you don't want it to be like a roller coaster. You want it to be like rolling hills. So like this, right? Go slowly up, a little down, rolling hills. You don't want it tap, 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 tap. But when you eat carbs, you do that. And now you want to snack, you're hungry all the time. And that's like a really big issue. So on the other hand, when you backcycle the carbs and start the day with protein and fats, you keep your blood sugar levels stable. You have more energy, you have no cravings, no hunger, and you have much more mental performance. And I've been one of the very first to say that. I see now Gary Brecka and many, many others share that concept. I'm not saying I invented it, but like it's like red hot right now. And we've been using that for years with clients. And it's such a game changer because people eat less naturally and now by force, which allows them to lose weight, keep it off without being hungry. And they did studies around that. They had two groups. Group one had at 8 a.m. a breakfast of 500 calories of granola, and group B had at 8 a.m. a breakfast of steak and eggs. Group A, the granola group, got hungry at 10 a.m., so they wanted more food at 10. Group B, they lost it till 2 p.m., right? So one group lost it 2 hours, the others lost it 6 hours. So you can see same calories, but different composition and different timing allows you to stick to the plan much smoother and therefore see long-term results. The other thing I would add is make sure that the foods you're getting are the highest quality, so grass-fed or grass-finished meat. Neil knows that, wild-caught fish. and pasture-raised eggs, organic food, fruits, veggies, seasonal foods, local ones, right? Like if you have that, foods with no barcode, that's gonna get you very, very far already there.
The low carb breakfast or the no carb breakfast was a game changer for me. That, like you say, when you're on calorie restrictions, like if you want to lose weight, you have to decrease your calories, right? And like you said there, if you're eating carbs at the start of the day, your blood sugar drops, and then all of a sudden you get hungry at 10 o'clock, you get hungry at 2 o'clock, you need that mid-afternoon snack at 5 or 6 o'clock, then you're having dinner at 7. But when I started doing on my non-training days, when I was just having 4 eggs and 100 grams of salmon with a handful of spinach in there, man, I was getting to midday and I was thinking, wow, it's midday, I'm not even hungry. And literally forced myself to eat because I didn't feel hungry, but I still had to get them calories in. And 4 eggs and 100 grams of salmon, that's a big meal, man. That should fill anybody up.
Yeah, and it's like the natural Ozempic, right? So it doesn't make you hungry. It's like a
Mm.
GLP-1. It is, right? It's natural GLP-1 diet, you could say.
Yeah. And then backloading the carbs at the end of the day as well. It feels like a cheap meal because all of a sudden you've got either a steak or a piece of chicken there, but you've got, for me, it was like 350 to 400 grams of potatoes. And when you're in a calorie restriction, having a meal like that at the end of the day and having that to look forward to at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like you're on a diet or you're on a calorie restriction. I actually look forward to going home and having my dinner. And, there's times when you're just fully satiated and that's you for the night.
Yeah, and also when you have the carbs at night and your body releases insulin, it lowers cortisol since they cannot coexist in most cases. So cortisol is catabolic and insulin is anti-catabolic. So you're always in those two different states. And because of the carbs, your cortisol will lower and they're going to make you tired, which is what you want at the end of the day. So you're going to, again, sleep better.
Yeah. So just to preface that again, so well, for me, non-training days, but if you want to eat less food, eat your carbs at the end of the day and try and have like healthy fats at the start of the day and eat as good as food as possible. So grass-fed, grass-finished, wild-caught salmon, all that type of stuff. So I suppose the last one or two to tie in is the training and activity. And before we get into this, I think you mentioned it a few times there. You're massive on blood work, and the blood work that you do at the start of this journey when people do decide to work with you determines the calories, the macros, the foods that you're going to eat, the training plan that you're going to train in. So we did the test 6 months ago, 96 biomarkers tested. It's a lot of blood that they take out of you, isn't it? A lot of blood. We just got it retested again after following the plan for 6 months. And I think of the 96, I already had quite a lot of markers that were in a relatively good position anyway, but I think we've just seen another 16 or 17 improve, getting closer to the optimal range as well. So blood work is everything because, you can, people used to look at me and said, you look quite healthy. But then when we got the blood work done and we fine tuned it, looking and feeling and knowing that you're actually healthy by the results from the blood work, it's just next level.
Yeah, and when you say people think they're healthy, many times we hear like, "Oh, I'm not overweight, I'm not fat, or I have a little bit of a belly," and it's like that doesn't mean anything. I've seen guys with like a little bit of love handles who are pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, and many markers that showed risk for heart attacks, Alzheimer, dementia that doctors never test. So like the whole notion of, oh, I'm healthy, it's like, well, you may not feel it that it's building up until it catches you, right? Like for example, high blood pressure, right? That's like the silent killer. You don't notice that you have high blood pressure until it's too late. And that's just one example. There's many, many others. And so getting in blood work should be like a habit everyone does moving forward 2025 twice a year for the rest of your life, and just getting those numbers dialed in and locked in and seeing, hey, am I improving and is it going up and down, and what do I need to do to make things better and make changes there, and not just the blood work that your doctor gets in. That's like a basic cholesterol panel, maybe sugar, like one that looks at a lot of advanced markers, nutrient status, markers like homocysteine, thyroid antibodies, to really be a little bit more preventative versus like Western medicine is very reactive. Like, oh, I've got a pain, I've got this. Okay, let's do this. Where even if you have nothing, you go and check and start optimizing their, you can see like in people's faces and bodies, their hormones are written across the face many times as well. Like if someone has like a lot of redness in the face or a puffy face, watery, like you could tell like high water retention, maybe they're hypothyroid, the way they express themselves, or if they have man boobs, like high estrogen, low testosterone, like there's a lot of things there that show what is off with someone's blood work, even in their face, right? Like how youthful they look, their humor, their smiles, their wrinkles, right? Many things. It's not always black and white, but there's like clear patterns that I've seen. I could tell like, yeah, that person probably has this, and then they get it in. It's like, I kind of knew it, right?
Yeah. Well, you work with that many
So
people now, mate, and seen that many blood results that, yeah, you start to see trends in people think.
absolutely, yeah.
Let's finish off on training and activity. We'll put them both in the same mold. If people don't want to go at the gym, is there a way that they can still be healthier by not going to the gym, just by staying active? Or do we need to have resistance training in there?
You need to have resistance training, but you can do it from home. We've got many clients, probably half of our clients work out from home with a tonal, with dumbbells, barbells, machines, a home gym. Like I've seen guys get jacked, six pack lean, big pecs, arms, shoulders, back with two dumbbells, two adjustable dumbbells, like the Bowflex and an incline bench. And I've seen guys go to like, huge gyms in the US or so. And so there's a spectrum, but again, I've seen guys with very minimal equipment get great results. So you don't have to train in the gym. If you don't want to be around a lot of meatheads, you want to be at home or the gym is far, totally fine. You can be at home. But yes, resistance training is key. And I always like to give those two examples. So resistance training helps you put on muscle. And that's like the entrepreneur that has a team that works for him. So when you're not working, the muscle that you've put on is working, closing deals for you. So it's like the muscle that you build are like passive income to your metabolism, and the kind of that sales team that goes out and does the work when you're on vacation, when you're not here. Whereas if you just do cardio, it's like the sole entrepreneur that does everything himself. When he's working, he's making money. When he's not working, no money is coming in, right? So when you're running, you're burning calories. When you're not running, you're not burning. But when you do the resistance training, you burn calories and you put on muscle. And now the muscle burns calories for you when you're sleeping, when you're sitting, when you're in a podcast, right? Like that's like the difference. And why is this so important? Because the more muscle mass you have, the more it's like a sponge to your glucose. So it soaks up the sugar out of your blood, right? Very important. You're going to lower your blood sugar levels. Number two, you minimize the risk of osteoporosis, osteopenia. So you have stronger bones there. And number three is you put yourself in a spot where you become obese resistant, what I like to call, meaning when your metabolism is up and up and up and up, that passive income, that muscle goes up and it's higher, what's going to happen is that you can eat so much and not get fat again that it's hard to regress. So if you have 3,000 calories a day or 2,800 that you can eat, like you'd have to eat over 3,000 for you to get fat. Like that's really hard if you eat whole foods and not like, McDonald's every day. So because you've got such a big budget, it's hard to overspend it, which makes it beautiful because now you're in a spot where metabolically and hormonally, you're never going to regress unless, again, if you eat over 3,000 calories a day and you're able to achieve that just with whole foods, impressive. But if you're just going out McDonald's, French fries all the time, then you're just stupid and you deserve to be out of shape again. That's just the reality. But if it's done right, shredding away the fat, optimizing metabolism hormones, then ramping up your metabolism after, like it's really hard for people to regain the weight.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm struggling at the minute. Sometimes I'm struggling at the end of the day to have all my calories in, and I'm still nowhere near where I was previously, but I'm eating better foods. I got used to eating less. And because I'm timing what I eat and when I eat it, I'm not getting as hungry. I'm not snacking in the afternoon like I used to. Like my last meal was at 1 o'clock today, and now it's 5:45, and I haven't eaten again. But previously I used to go to the shop and get a protein bar or something else. Or I'd be nibbling something in the office. So yeah, it makes a big difference. And I'm looking forward to trying to increase the food, but it'll get to a point where it just gets so hard to eat that much that it's trying to get that many calories in on a daily basis from good food is challenging, or can be challenging, I think.
Exactly. Especially as you said, like when you're used to eating little and not by force, but again, you're not that hungry the way we set up the program. Now you get more and more. It's like, wow, like I have so much more. It's almost a struggle, which is a good thing because again, you will not be in a place to overeat. And it all starts with optimizing your sugar. If your sugar is stable, like those rolling hills throughout the day, you're not going to snack in between meals and you're not going to be hungry. Versus if it's up and down, up and down, up and down, it's going to be tough. Like a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline. And, some guys have that for a few weeks, but I always like to say that's like holding your breath on the water. Eventually, you're going to get up, get air, and that's where all the weight will come back.
Yeah. So what are we classing as activity then, Mauro? You've emphasized how important resistance training is there for building muscle. So what's the difference between training and activity?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say we should have only one. It's definitely important to have both of them. But uh, if we can only pick one, it should be resistance training. But again, ideally we have both, and that should be walking during a cut. So walking 5 miles days, like how many kilometers is that?
10,
Probably 11, 10, 11.
10 kilometers, yep.
Yeah. 10,000 steps a day. That's like a good start for most people. And you can go and do a little bit of cardio for the heart, zone two, getting that VO2 max improve, swimming, biking. But always keep in mind if it makes you hungry. If it makes you hungry, then I will cut back on it while you're in the fat loss phase. And then when you're bulking, you can be much more free with the activity. But if it makes you hungry, you don't want that. Just as overtraining, if you're too many hours in the gym, can make you hungry. And now you overeat and the fat will not go away, right? So we want to make sure that we're never hungry or as little as possible so we can end the fat loss phase rather sooner or later. And then again, dive into the bulking phase where it's much more free. So resistance training and then low intensity activity, such as walking, is a very, very good combination that anyone can do for the rest of their life. And if people want to ramp it up, some swimming, some running, some zone 2 cardio, some HIIT training to optimize their VO2 max, then so should it be.
Yeah. So for the listeners that are thinking, wow, this all sounds very complex, all sounds very overwhelming, where do we start? I can hand on heart say this man has made it as straightforward as possible. If you do decide to reach out to him and work together, there will be a lot of information that you receive at the start of the journey. But once you unpack it all and you start implementing these small little habits into your daily routine, all of a sudden it becomes the norm. And yeah, I've gone from 94 kilos down to, at my lowest, I was 81.9. So I lost 12 kilos in 6 months. I went from, was it 22% body fat down to 12.9% body fat? So yeah, full six pack going on. And then now we're trying to put some muscle back on, which I'm finding a little bit challenging. The mindset around it is a little bit different for me, Mauro. When I was losing weight, I just like, yeah, I can't eat this, I can't eat this, I can't eat this. But now we're trying to put some muscle back on so that, like you say, I've got the cash flow or the sales team working for me constantly. the mindset is, oh, I can just eat that because I'm bulking, and I'm finding myself blowing my calories out on little days. So, Robert kicked my ass a few times trying to keep me in check. But yeah, it's definitely a mindset shift of just being as strict with the bulk as I was with the cut, because yeah, I followed that thing to a T. And I think in 6 months, there was probably 4 or 5 days that I didn't follow the plan.
Yeah, the cut is straightforward. I hear it so many times, even for me, like, this is the end weight, but during the bulk, it's like infinite, so to say, because yeah, there are milestones, 5 kilo, 10 kilo of muscles, 15, but it's not the same. Like, there's not like that giant milestone, which is the six pack for men in phase one. But so you're right, it's a little bit of a mindset shift, but that's what coaching is here for, and getting a new set of eyes and outlook and perspective.
Yeah. And the good thing about working with you and your team is we've got access to an app, which a lot of the things that I was already using, like MyFitnessPal, my Aura Ring, they all feed into this app so that you guys can track everything and tweak things as needed. And also, yeah, as my food gets increased, that plugs into MyFitnessPal again, which feeds back into the app, which is great. It makes it all simple. And then I've got my coach at the click of a button. So anytime I need some information, I reach out to Robert. He gives me what I need, and then we're off and running again. So, mate, I think you've made the really complex as simple as possible. And yeah, hopefully some more people get some value from this. A few of my friends have already signed up to work with you, mate, and I'm excited to see their journeys as well. But if anybody else is listening to the podcast and they want to reach out, we'll drop some information in the show notes so that they can find out more about yourself and the team. And yeah, hopefully, mate, some other people start to see the results that I've had as well, mate, because like I say, energy levels are through the roof. My sleep's definitely better. My skin feels better. Like, just little things that I've noticed over time as well. And you said when we jumped on a call 6 months later, you said my face had totally changed as well, didn't you? So,
Oh yeah, dramatically changed.
yeah. So, mate, thank you for all your help. Thank you for coming on the podcast today and breaking down them pillars in very high level fashion. I mean, this man's got hours and hours of content for you to watch if you decide to work with him. And yeah, it's as technical as you like, but in a really good way, like technical, but explained in a way that's easy for someone like me to understand. So, mate, thank you. Keep up the good work, and looking forward to continue working with you in the future.
Thank you very much for your trust, and appreciate you having me on here on the podcast.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.